And Job's second speech is very disorderly. It's full of wild, contradictory images that may reflect the shock and the pain and the rage that now overwhelm him. He seems to be haunted by Eliphaz's connection of his suffering with some sin. And so he turns to address God directly. He admits he's not perfect, but surely, he objects, he doesn't deserve such affliction. In chapter 8, we have Bildad's speech, and it's tactless and unkind. He says, "Will God pervert the right? Will the Almighty pervert justice? If your sons sinned against him, he dispatched them for their transgressions." In other words, God is perfectly just, and ultimately, all get what they deserve. Indeed, your children, Job, must have died because they sinned. So just search for God and ask for mercy. The friends' speeches lead Job to the conclusion that God must be indifferent to moral status. God doesn't follow the rules that he demands of human beings. It's chapter 9, verse 22. He finishes off both perfect and wicked. When Job complains, "He wounds me much for nothing," chapter 9, verse 17, he's echoing God's own words to the Satan in the prologue. Remember when God says to the Satan, "You have incited me to destroy him for nothing." And we suspect by this verbal coincidence that Job is right. Legal terms dominate as Job calls for the charges against him to be published, and then he hurls countercharges in a suit against God. Charges of unworthy conduct, of spurning his creatures while smiling on the wicked, on scrutinizing Job even though he knows Job to be innocent. And this, too, is a subversion of a common prophetic literary genre that we've seen, right? The Reeve or the Covenant lawsuit, in which God, through his prophets, charges Israel with flagrant violation of the terms of the covenant and warns of inevitable punishment. Here in Job, it's a man who arraigns God. And yet, Job asserts, since God is God and not a human adversary, there's really no fair way for the lawsuit between them to be tried or arbitrated. Man cannot win a suit against God, chapter 9, verse 2. Job is powerless in the face of this injustice. These ideas all find expression in Job 10, verses 1 through 7. "I am disgusted with life. I will give rein to my complaint, speak in the bitterness of my soul. I say to God, do not condemn me. Let me know what you charge me with. Does it benefit you to defraud, to despise the toil of your hands while smiling on the counsel of the wicked? Do you have the eyes of flesh? Is your vision that of mere man? Are your days the days of a mortal? Are your years the years of a man, that you seek my iniquity and search out my sin? You know that I am not guilty, and that there is none to deliver from your hand." Job repeats his wish to die, this time less because of the suffering and more because his worldview has collapsed. He sees that divine power is utterly divorced from justice. And that's a second fundamental biblical assumption subverted.